Tonight to introduce our new school superintendent, Mr. Jeff Whibby, sitting right next to me, who comes to us with an impressive track record of leadership and innovation in education. After an extensive search, the Board of Ed is confident that he embodies the qualities we were looking for to guide our district toward excellence. With 27 years, 9 as a superintendent, experiences in various educational settings, Mr. Whibby has already demonstrated a commitment to foster student achievement, to enhance community engagement, and to promote a positive school culture. He brings a vision that aligns with our strategic plan, along with a spirit that we believe will unite our students, staff, and families. We are excited to give a warm welcome to Jeff Whibby, as in we look forward to a successful journey ahead. So welcome, Jeff. Thank you. Okay, so we'll get started right in. Good evening again, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Ed meeting. The date is Tuesday, August 26, 2025, and I'll just remind you to turn off your cell phones as this meeting is being recorded. And Ellen, will you please do our roll call?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the school year. Ms. Callan Carson?
Here.
Mr. Carey?
Present.
Mrs. DeRoberts?
Here.
Ms. Hernandez-Williams?
Here.
Mr. Riley?
Here.
Ms. Walters?
Present.
Mr. Weiner?
Here.
Vice Chair, Mr. Lacavoli?
Here.
Chairperson Granato?
Present.
All present.
Thank you. And we were hoping that Scanlon, who we're going to meet this evening, would lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. Sterling?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, we have student and staff recognition. And Mr. Whibby, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Excellent. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm going to skip over the content of this is also part of the superintendent's report. But we are very excited to welcome Mr. Sterling Scanlon to the Wethersfield High School administrative team. Sterling joins us from over a decade of service as a PE health teacher and an athletic director for Weaver High School. He has an educational background rooted in a family of educators, including his mother's 25 years in the Hartford Public Schools, his grandmother's 30 years as a teacher at Clark Elementary in Hartford, his grandfather's 35 years as a professor at Mount Holyoke and Hartford College for Women. He has a deep commitment to student development and community leadership, which will always put what is best for the students, staff, and families of Wethersfield High School at the forefront. For the past 10 years, he serves as the athletic director at Weaver High School in Hartford, where he has been responsible for growing athletic programs, building strong community partnerships, and fostering a culture of integrity, inclusivity, and pride among students, coaches, and families. While serving as the AD at Weaver, he simultaneously served as a health and physical education teacher, so we know he can certainly multitask. He's excited to join the Wethersfield community, stating that his professional experience and personal values align perfectly with the Wethersfield High School tradition of athletic excellence and dedication to student success. I have to tell you, Principal O'Connor brought him up for a final interview in the superintendent's office, and I threw a couple of fastballs under his chin. He didn't flinch. He showed us, and we looked for someone who was deeply committed to our student athletes, their growth, their development, and we're really thrilled to have Sterling join us at Wethersfield Public Schools. He's a fantastic addition to the administrative team and for Wethersfield High School. So welcome aboard. So glad to have you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on. Okay. Next on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes for that Board of Ed meeting long ago on May 27th, 2025. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right, discussions? We okay on it? Any corrections? No? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, those minutes are approved. Now, if there's anyone wishing to make a public comment, please come on up to the podium and state your name and address. And may I remind you that we have a 5-minute limit. And another reminder, board members will not respond to a resident speaking at the podium. Thanks for your understanding on that. Okay, all right, we'll move on. Mr. Whibby, you have some communication to share?
I do. Madam Chair, I placed into the packet what I'll be calling the Superintendent's Informational Update, which will be information from the superintendent on general items, from each of the departments on a monthly basis. We'll have updates from the schools and various other important happenings across the district. So we'll look to share many key activities, accomplishments, achievements, and things that are going on to keep the board informed. And the first thing that I want to do is just share the invitation with the Board of Education to join the superintendent. I was thrilled to have several Board of Education members at convocation this morning, welcoming back the teachers and the staff. It was they're always thrilled to see our board members in the buildings. And I'm going on some school visits in the coming days. So on Thursday the 28th, which is the students' first day back this week, I'm going to stop by and visit each of the schools for a little bit of time, starting at 7:25 over at the high school. And then I'll be going immediately from there to the middle school, to Emerson Williams, to Charles Wright, over to Highcrest, then Webb, and then Hammer. And I'll invite all the board members, if you can join me for as many visits as you can. We can have a Board of Education train and visit all of the schools, at that time to kind of welcome folks back. We'll stop in and say hello to folks in classrooms and in the hallways. And looking forward to that. After the first day, I'll be spending a little bit more time in each of the schools. So I'll spend a couple of hours in each of the schools for each of the days, going from Friday through next Thursday, just to kind of get to see the rhythms of the building and start to talk to people and meet people. So I'm really excited to be kind of incorporating that into my entry plan. I'll share that the district leadership team on August 15th and the 19th, we had an off-site workshop where administrators worked together on creation of our district continuous improvement plan, which is a reflection of the board's strategic operating plan that's currently in place. And I was just so impressed and overwhelmed with the skills and the strengths of the group. So it was a great 2 days of hard work. I mean, at the end of the second day, we were all pretty exhausted. They really worked hard, and I was proud to be part of that team. Just kind of shifting through, I'm not going to read all of these things because it's 12 pages, but every month I'll kind of pick a couple of things that I think are important. Looking at food services, it's important to note that on August 14th, the Department of Ed issued us a 30-day no cost for student lunch reprieve, and they call it, Matt, they call it a transition period. So the first month of school, we will have universal free lunch for all our families for that month of September. So that's a little bit of a change up. At first, we were told that we wouldn't have that kind of grace period, or they call it the transition period, but we are to expect that the state will reimburse all breakfast and lunches for the month of September. I'm going to shift gears to the Talent, Accountability, and Human Resource Office. I'm so excited to report that as of this morning, all certified staff positions have been filled for Wethersfield Public Schools. As you look around in the news across the state, there's many school districts that have 40, 50, 75 certified staff vacancies on the first day of school. So our children in Wethersfield will have all their teachers will be in place, other than, substitutes, long-term subs. We're still looking for a couple of long-term subs, but all the hiring was done over the summer. I have to say, that's a great tribute. We were lucky enough when we had the vacancy for the assistant superintendent to have Dr. Jean Pattyfoot join us over the summer. Dr. Pattyfoot, as you know, is a retired superintendent of schools that has many areas of expertise, but she led our wonderful human resource department, and our building administrators and our central office administrators worked their tails off over the summer. There were folks working on I saw people conducting interviews on Friday nights in the summertime. I think I had to throw Mr. Karzar out of the building on a Friday night. People were working really hard to staff up the building, and that is so important that our kids start the school year with 100% teachers. That's a big task that folks worked hard on. I'm so proud of the work that HR, our administrative team, and Dr. Pattyfoot. That's a big win for our buildings. As you know, that takes a lot of stress off the kids, the families, and the other staff members. Looking to the Teaching and Learning Office, on August 18th, we welcomed 18 new teachers to Wethersfield Public Schools, along with 11 more who joined us in the middle of the year. So it was like a induction to Wethersfield Public Schools, week of induction on good practice here in Wethersfield Schools. So it was great to see our new teammates joining us here in Wethersfield. As you can see, a little bit down further in the pages, I have school updates. Every month, I will ask the principals for a couple of bullets. In the past, I would have to pull teeth to get, a couple of bullets for principals. I come to Wethersfield Public Schools, and I had to call principals up and say, tone it down. They're putting pictures in and quotes from books. That was one of my first experiences with the administrative team. I was so blown away with the quality of administrators that we have in Wethersfield. They just went so above and beyond one of the first tasks I asked them. And as you can kind of see in here, the detail and the amount of information they provided blew me away. So I hope the board enjoys kind of looking through some of these updates from the school. So with that, Madam Chair, that concludes my first superintendent report here in Wethersfield.
Thank you. And we're also going to have a fire and crisis response drill. You have an administrative letter?
Yes, thank you. It's fine. I linked that also to the letter. We had a little bit of a conversation at the policy committee about the difference between an administrative letter and a board policy. And from time to time, what I will do is I will issue what's called an administrative letter, where I take a Board of Education policy, and as we know, they're usually written, very legalistic language. For a lot of us who are not attorneys, sometimes we're not sure how to interpret those things. So a superintendent's administrative letter is an interpretation of a Board of Education policy, and it makes it easier to implement at a school or a classroom level. So we kind of make it so it's more understandable for the folks that are using it. So I will issue from time to time administrative letters during the year. Maybe sometimes there might be 3 or 4, some years there might be 8 or 9, just depending on what we're kind of wrestling with in the school district. And I thought that it was important that my first administrative letter was focused on school safety and crisis response drills, developing a coherent process for crisis response drills in the schools. I think that we've done a nice job previously, but I think it was important that we were all using the same definitions and vernaculars and explanations so that our families are clear about what the parameters are for safety response, our staff, everybody across the board coherently kind of understands that. And what it calls for is the scheduling of safety drills in August for the full year, and we ask that all the drills are scheduled for August 20th of each month. And the reason for that is if there's a snow day, or if we have a fire drill scheduled and it's raining cats and dogs that day, the principal can make a game time decision or call an audible at the line. I'm talking sports language for, Sterling, and say, we're going to not have the fire drill today and we'll reschedule it for next week. Because as you know, every school has to have one crisis drill per month as per Connecticut State Fire Code, Part 5, Section 20-2-3-1-2. So you can expect to have a report from the superintendent of schools every June. Actually, every August, I'll forward a report to the Board of Education showing that we've coherently completed our required drills for the year. That'll be kind of a dashboard item. That'll be something that potentially I could share at the summer board workshop. But just wanted to give you a handful. I won't walk you through extensively admin letters every time. What I will do is I'll bring them to the policy committee for review, consent, and advice. But I just wanted to take the time to just do the first one with the whole group. And most of the time, these will come through the policy committee. And I'll pause if there's questions or...
Anyone with questions? Okay. We're good. All set. We're going to go on to our action items. So tonight we have 2 recommended motions. Matt, would you please read recommended motion 6A for us?
Yes, Bobby. I move to approve for the superintendent and business manager to become authorized signers of the D099.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this? We okay with it? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion is approved. John, would you please read recommended motion 6B?
Absolutely. I move that the Weathersfield Board of Education approve the educational specifications for Samuel B. Webb Elementary School.
Second.
Okay. Let's have a discussion. Any questions we could use? Our consultants there? We're all set? Okay, we'll go on to a vote then. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? That motion passes. And this evening, we have a first read for 2 policies. I'll give that to you too, Matt.
Yep, thank you, Bobby. So the Policy and Planning Committee met on Wednesday, July 30th, to discuss 2 state-mandated policies that are in front of you for a first read tonight. The first one has to do with the Connecticut School Climate Policy. What is that? It is currently set to replace our existing bullying prevention and intervention policy. What is it overall? It's basically a framework that guides our school district as to how we are going to deal with behavior issues that may arise in our buildings. Dr. Pattyfoot and John Karzar were able to walk us and talk us through it and answer any questions that we had about it. It's basically a guideline and framework concerning who does what are the forms, what supports become available, all sorts of stuff like that in terms of behavior in our schools. That's in front of you for a first read tonight. Also in front of you for a first read tonight is another state mandate brought to us from Shipman and Goodwin, ultimately coming from the state, that has to do with restorative practices response policy, also having to do with behavior issues that arise in our school. We had a little bit less discussion on this policy, mainly because although it is newly mandated to school districts in the state of Connecticut, we are currently in our 6th year of this practice of practicing restorative. So that's in front of you for a first read as well tonight.
Okay, thank you. So that's the first read for us, and then next board meeting, we will be voting on those 2 policies. Thank you, Matt. Okay, tonight we also have discussion from HR and Personnel Committee Chair on our Superintendent's recommendation for central office reorganization, Phase 1.
Thank you, Bobby. Today we met at 5 o'clock and the committee members were all present. Mr. Wiebe gave us a great explanation of what he was thinking of, and we're going to piggyback this, but I wanted to just let him talk about it a little bit and let the committee also discuss. I do want to say that we had a consensus and supported him. Our biggest reason for that is because it was great for students and staff, and so that's always my focus, and I always like to have that. And budget-wise, it was not adding costs, which thank you, Matt, for always thinking about that, because those things talk to the communities. Money, staff, families, that students are getting what they need, and that's important. So I'll let you discuss it.
Sure, thank you. Thank you. You know, we're looking to take 2 currently vacant positions that are open in Wethersfield Public Schools, and we wanted to repurpose them to better right size and right fit the needs of Wethersfield Public Schools moving forward. And as all of you know, we currently have a vacant assistant superintendent position and a vacant director of human resource position. So as I kind of explained to the committee, I was looking as I'm analyzing and talking to people and observing and gathering information about the district needs, I was thinking very deeply about how that fits in with the needs of the structures that we have centrally. Previously, we had an assistant superintendent that handled teaching and learning, and I was looking at the size of the district. Larger districts generally have multiple assistant superintendents that are very myopic and specific to a singular type of role, but do lots of volume within that role because there's, a big district. Then in smaller districts, you have more generalist type of assistant superintendent roles. In our circumstance, in Wethersfield, we're more of a medium-sized district, and we do need some flexibility to have an assistant superintendent work on multiple focus areas, but at the same time, we also want to focus in on some specific big tasks. And we want that to be able to change and evolve over the years as things become more prominently important connected to the strategic operating plan. So these were some of the kind of the fundamental thought processes that went into some of the research into this process. As I said previously, the assistant superintendent role handled teaching and learning. I'm looking to expand that to having an involvement in teaching and learning, but also to handle development, growth, and talent management, and looking at human resources a little bit differently and more appropriately for school districts. School districts have unique things connected to the work in human resources. First and foremost, school districts deal with teacher certification law, teacher tenure law, public bargaining units, and labor relations connected to public bargaining units that wouldn't happen in a corporate world. There's mandatory professional developments from our friends at the Connecticut State Department of Education that mandate what's called a PDEC committee. That's very unique and different for school districts, and we really need someone who knows human resource function, but also understands the nuances of schools and teaching and learning so that we can right size and fit our PD to support the folks that are working. We also want to be competitive in staff recruitment and retention. When you look at human resources in a talent management perspective, you want to always recruit the best people, you want to hire the best people, you want to give them the best professional development that makes sense for the tasks that they're going to be involved with, and we want to keep the best people. Once we get our hands on the great people in Wethersfield, we don't want them to go anywhere else. We want them to stay here in Wethersfield, Connecticut. So that competitive piece of talent management is important. We also want to align student learning into professional feedback loops. We want to have what's important for our student learning connected to what's important to the community be part of our measuring or our accountability systems and structures. And, so accountability has to be connected to PD. That's a third element of this. And finally, we want to have strategic oversight of human resource functions. Our human resource department, our talent management department, has to be able to interface with the board's vision and the strategic operating plan. And as I said, these are distinct roles in a school district that requires more of a senior level leader versus more of a director role. So that's the first position that I'm talking about. It's a position that we already have. It's budgeted for, just repurposing the job duties a little bit. To go along with that, I'd like to take the vacant Director of Human Resources, and because we're channeling a lot of the executive leadership into that Assistant Superintendent role, I'd like to convert at a no increase in salary, I'd like to convert that Director of Human Resources role into a Director of Teaching and Learning, so that we can, I've learned in my short time here that we really could work towards more systems and structures of coherence to support our teachers and our school leaders. Moving more towards holistic good process that can be replicated from school to school. There's great things happening at Webb that we would like to replicate at Hanmer. There's great things at Hanmer that we would like to replicate at EW, and so on and so forth. And so we're looking to develop a coherent, replicable set of outstanding, highly reliable, research-based instructional practices for our teaching and learning process. And so these are kind of the nuances of the adjustments I'm making to these two vacancies and what I'm kind of looking to do and thinking about that. So I'll pause here.
Do any committee members want to add to his comments?
No, if anybody just wants to have questions here, that would be a good time right now. Anyone? Liz?
I have a couple of thoughts to share. I'm also on the HR committee. A couple of things, Jeff, that you had mentioned before and again tonight, more boots on the ground. I loved hearing that. Also, you're working to de-stress the teachers and de-stress the building principals. Very, very important. The professional feedback loop that you're talking about, I think positions Weathersfield Public Schools very well to remove impediments quickly and without a ton of fanfare. Just get rid of them quick and get back on. But overall, what you're proposing to me makes Weathersfield Public Schools scalable. I believe that in our current or slightly former organizational structure, it was not scalable. It was, there were many, many, many steps to go through and make one change. There are more constraints than I think we saw opportunities. And what you're proposing to me and connecting it to our strategic plan means it's scalable. So whatever hits Weathersfield, we should be able to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have talked about this quite a bit lately, but we will be talking about it as we move forward with this. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for all that information. All right. Well, tonight, let's see where we are right now. We have Board of Ed meetings held.
Patty, hold on one second. Can I just interrupt you for the second position? I'm sorry. We wanted to just describe the second position, which is the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Curriculum. So we just want to give a couple points of that. So the first position is for the Assistant Superintendent, and then the second position, right?
In the high school?
Yes, at the high school, yes, obviously. So if you want to just describe those.
Sure.
Those changes.
So the second change that I would be proposing would be the conversion of the athletic director into the dean of students role, and that would generate some savings to the high school. And in working with the principal, we were looking to remove some of the instructional focus from the athletic director. We found in analyzing the position, they were stretched pretty thin. They were dealing with observations and evaluating classrooms. They were dealing with student discipline. They were dealing with a very robust athletic program at the high school. And in talking to the principal, we agreed that that was a heavy burden. That was a lot to ask on one individual. So we looked to right-size that position to a much more manageable role. Still, it remains within the Administrators Association, and we're looking to replace some of those responsibilities into some of our potential current teachers and make them department heads. So we're not looking to add any positions. What we're looking to do is repurpose 3 teaching positions where they're still actually going to teach. They'll still teach several classes, but they're also going to provide instructional leadership connected to mathematics, a second one in English language arts, and a third one in science. And as you know, those are the 3 testable areas in for state assessments. They're also the 3 areas that you see the most college credit courses connected to that. And that was some of the robust discussion that we had in the personnel committee as well. So what this would do is this would allow some really acute support structures in place for 3 departments to help grow the instructional capacity of the high school. And I thought that this was a great idea, and looking at it that way and the analysis of the redistribution of the duties, we're not asking for any more FTE. It'll be the same FTE. It's just kind of shifting that from one position, spread it out over 3 other ones.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to make a comment on all of these positions. So I'm happy that these are being looked at and that these moves are being made. One of the things, Jeff, when we were looking to hire a new superintendent and you went around the room at the end of one of the interviews and you asked us individually what each of us board members was looking for a superintendent, I believe that 2 of the things that I mentioned were I wanted the superintendent to take a hard look at central office and see how that we can best organize it. And I also was hoping to see in a superintendent someone that could find cost-neutral savings. I feel like both of these moves do those goals, provide those goals that I was looking for. And I'm happy to see that Siobhan is here tonight because the department heads were something that she had been asking for in multiple budget cycles. I don't know if it was 2 or 3, and we were just never able to provide it for her. I'm happy that Jeff was able to find that for her at no new costs, essentially. We're not going to be adding $1 more to the budget, and Siobhan is going to be able to get some of the things that she needs to make her job better at our flagship school, the high school.
Great. Thank you, Matt. Anyone else?
Are these new positions in the administrative bargaining unit or the teaching bargaining unit?
Great question. We had first looked to keep them in the teaching bargaining unit, and in engaging with the teachers union, they were wildly generous and an absolute pleasure to work with. They did struggle having supervisory impact coming from within their own bargaining unit, which makes a lot of sense to us. And they asked if we could move that into the WASA bargaining unit, which is a big win for that bargaining unit. We worked closely with both unions on this, and it was wonderful to see the administrators union, the teachers union, and central office kind of arm in arm agreeing on something like that. And that's we all kind of pledged at the end of that meeting that that's the way we kind of wanted to do business moving forward. It was such a wonderful example of labor relations. I have to give such credit to the 2 union leaders and how much they cared about what was best for Wethersfield Public Schools. It was wonderful. So These would be transferring these, and language does permit in both unions that they're still allowed to teach inside of the school multiple sections a day. So they still actually will be classroom teachers as well.
So before this is done, are we going to get an analysis of how the money shakes out, and then how, the concern I've heard from central office prior to this was the class size issue and the number of offerings we have in those 3 areas? And I'd like a detailed analysis of how that's going to break out if we move these teachers out of some of these classroom positions.
We did do an analysis, and it didn't affect, we found areas of efficiencies where we would not be putting, kids or teachers in situations where there'd be overbearing class sizes. I can't tell you, there's so many sections in the high school master schedule, but I can tell you that, we did look at that and we didn't see, I'll call on Siobhan if you have any examples.
Sure. So historically within our core subject areas, we have had lower class sizes that we've been able to condense some classes. So for example, we had a physics class that was running at 12. That's not efficient use of FTE, a 12-person class. And so that was able to be condensed down and shifted over to the 2 other sections of physics. So we still only have 22 students in a physics class, which at a junior and senior level class, that makes complete sense. We were still able to completely keep our low class sizes in our lower level content areas. So 9th grade introductory classes are still running around the 20s, sometimes lower than that. If we did have to make decisions around increasing class size, it was always to the older students who were able to do that. And none of our classes were any bigger on average than other classes that already existed in the building. So there was zero what I considered impact on those individual teachers or classes. I would never do that to my staff, but at the same time, as a person who wants to be a good steward of your tax dollars, it doesn't make any sense for me to be running those really low classes when I don't have to. So we did have some opportunity in those areas. So when I did do this initial proposal, I did provide those breakdowns and how it would shake out, but we never have class sizes in the classes I did have to condense over 24. So any class that was impacted is still at that level. So I feel confident that is a good stewardship of your tax dollars while also getting really good impact for you overall.
Great, thank you. Any other questions for Siobhan before she sits down?
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I guess it could be a question too, because what I've been concerned with for a long time is being behind in curriculum, because this high school was caught being very behind in curriculum before you started. And I know that a lot of teachers were taken out of teaching the last couple of years to create curriculum. So we created a high substitution rate, bringing in subs. And I feel like having department heads, I'm hoping and I'm assuming, will kind of take care of some of that. They'll head off or lead on curriculum and won't cause other teachers to have to kind of always come out to create curriculum or just keep it up to date,
Correct. So they would be the leaders in the curricular areas for those 3 departments. They're also going to help professional development, not only with their departments, but with other departments, because they will have more time within their day to do that. There's also a very heavy emphasis on being in classrooms, supporting teachers, modeling best practice, helping teachers see new things. We're doing building thinking classrooms. You've probably heard that a lot at the elementary level. Our math and science department are also embracing that, and sometimes that's a pretty heavy lift for some of our secondary teachers, but I will also be able to implement that and help our teachers along, which is what they deserve. They deserve to learn by doing. We all learn best by doing, and you need models and coaches to do that. So this would all be something that they would be also taking on. So there's a lot of benefits. I think this also takes some of that lift off of department liaisons, because we were able to redistribute, or will be able to redistribute, our evaluations, and so that provides more time for us as individuals to act as coaches for those departments who don't have administrative leads. We can now bear that burden and help them, because they do teach a full class load, and they were trying to run departments at the same time, which just wasn't fair to them and wasn't making them ultimately the most productive people that they can be. The other positive that this will allow is it frees up one of our administrators at the high school level to run our intervention system, our MTSS system. So Miss Stephanie Hassler will be spearheading that to ensure that all of our students have the access to intervention resources and data collection that they need in order to make sure that everyone's making the growth that we want to see from students at Wethersfield High School. So I think it costs a net negative of net $66 I'm saving you through this, but I think for all of that, for a negative $66 is just a win for everyone.
And with that negative, down $66, it also adds in summer work as well, which we didn't have before. If we were going to have to, have folks come in and work over the summer on curriculum, we would have to stipend. This is all included in the salary. So that's, even with the $66 negative, we pick up summer work days for curriculum work. So that's another net positive also.
3 extra months of work.
I have to give kudos. It's an extremely creative solution, that Principal O'Connor brought forward.
I have another question. Does this start, is this already happening? Okay. And when does it start?
Well, we wanted to talk to everybody here tonight, and, we engaged with both of the bargaining units, as I said. We got very positive responses to them, and we wouldn't want to move forward with something like this without the advice from the board, and, that's what we're here. If folks are feeling comfortable, we'll start moving forward with job postings and interviews and so forth.
How could you do that with the school about to start and you're going to reduce the number of sections being offered? It would seem like you're playing a bait and switch on us here, because it would have to have been done already for this to actually be successful, because those in those positions would be teaching less classes unless you're not ready for it. And then how would you start that in October, let's say? That doesn't seem to be a logical thing.
We could start off the year with much smaller class sizes, or we could shift to this pretty quickly and have more right-sized class sizes. Like Principal O'Connor mentioned, we would be looking at class sizes with 20 or below. So I think we're in pretty good shape to make this move at this point. I would agree. It would be something if we were uncomfortable that we were shifting, to class sizes up or too far down. It wouldn't be something we would be looking to move along quickly. But I do appreciate that.
But I guess I reiterate, I'd still like to see analysis of the class sizes from last year to this year, and then what would happen if we do this. And then I'm still looking for the financial analysis, because I'm trying to wrap my head around how it's a budget neutral process.
I can send you all of that. I have
We're
it.
moving teachers out of the teacher bargaining unit into the administrative bargaining unit, and I've never seen an administrative bargaining unit where it would be budget neutral on that.
I
But you
know,
have it.
I promise you it is, and we have the money. I have all the details for that, as well as
We'll be happy to
class size.
provide all of that to the board moving forward.
Can I make a comment? I respect that, but I do understand that sometimes in education, movement doesn't happen, and we do things we just do things, and then we don't change them in the middle of the year. We don't change them because it's not the right thing to do, and it's not the right thing for kids and departments to do either. So I think we're so afraid sometimes to make changes because it's been done that way. And I just want to say it like that. I'm sorry, but it's not a bad movement, especially if we're customizing PD for teachers, and the assistant superintendent job is to retain teachers and to hire teachers, and then the director of teaching and curriculum is going to help those teachers. And if we're talking about the MTSS program, to help students in special education, which is so costly. So it's just important to look at that, and if you can send it to us, then we can look at it, and then we can maybe move forward.
And I appreciate your point, Mr. Carey, too, that, one of the things that we had discussed quite a bit based on some board questions at the committee meeting is the assistant superintendent would be expected to provide a staffing plan, and that's exactly what Mr. Carey is talking about, where we connect the student enrollment to the staffing and the budget. And that would be something that, that the board would expect to have during the budget process, is a pretty robust staffing plan moving forward. And Mr. Carey's questions are good ones. And, I think that moving in these direction with these positions will help us better accomplish the analytical questions that he's providing that make sense.
I just want to be clear, I have no issue with any of them, I just need more data on the third one, but certainly the assistant superintendent and the director of curriculum or whatever we're calling it, I apologize. I totally blanked on that one. I fully support, and I've been an advocate for the last multiple months of let's not move forward and let's let our new superintendent reorganize, and I'm happy to see that that's the direction you're going in, and I'm okay with that, and clearly we need that. So, and it's kind of like a bell curve, we're going back to where we were, because as I explained to you, 14 years ago, it was assistant superintendent of special ed, and then it was assistant superintendent of HR and finance, and then it was assistant superintendent. So Weathersfield historically just moves that assistant superintendent job around as needed. So I have no problem with that, and I'd have no problem with the high school as soon as we see the data behind it.
And one of the other things that we did talk about with the bargaining units is the board has the opportunity when we go back into negotiations the next time to regroup and rethink these type of positions. So the board and the bargaining units will get another chance to rethink this after a couple of years of seeing how it operates. So I believe that there's 2 years left on the collective bargaining agreement with the teachers union. So it's almost could serve as a 2-year pilot too.
Just 2 years? I feel like Matt and I just did it. Okay.
2 more years.
Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on. A little redundant here. Our Board of Ed meetings held, so Matt will just talk to you about the special meeting of Policy and Planning Committee.
Yes, I'll be very brief on this, Bobby. So in addition to the 2 aforementioned policies that are in front of you from that committee, for a first read, the Connecticut School Climate Policy and the Restorative Practices Response Policy. We, as you all know, we had a PTO come in front of us during one board meeting last year and asked us to craft a policy concerning animals, live animals in schools, specifically therapy dogs and or facility therapy dogs. That is still, it's a work in progress. We're still looking at other districts' policies and or administrative regulations to see how best we can glean information from their policies to craft ours. So that discussion is ongoing as well in that committee.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you. So also a special meeting of Human Resources and Personnel Committee. Christina, another sentence or two.
I'm happy to do that. We did, you know what, I'll mix it up a little bit. We did talk about other business, and we are going to we're going to add this to the agenda. We want to thank the staff, hopefully maybe do it a little differently, but I'm hoping that central office can support us in helping to just say thank you to the staff in a creative way. And other business was just, yeah, I think that's it. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you.
Because we discussed a lot, but
We talked
we'll
a
have
lot.
more in September.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone in the audience willing to make a public comment? Come on up to the podium and state your name and address, and may I remind you that public comments are limited to 5 minutes. Okay, are there any board comments? Yeah,
I'll go first.
go ahead. Oh, somebody else wants, I saw his hand raised first. We'll go ahead.
So I just also want to wish a warm welcome to our new superintendent, Jeff Wibby. You've got your first public or board meeting under your belt. I think you've done well. So far you're a success. Jeff has been busy this summer, hiring and dealing with some tricky situations, but so far I've been impressed, and I look forward to working with you into the future. I also want to say hello to this entire board again. We only have a few meetings left as this board is currently comprised. There will be a new board come November, but whether it's this board or the next board, the goal remains the same, right? We want to create the best school system possible for the kids in town, considering equity, empathy, and achievement. And we want to graduate kids that are communicators, collaborators, and problem solvers. And we also want to consider every taxpayer and every resident while we try to do all of that. So I look forward to working with you all again in the next couple of meetings.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else for closing comment?
Just as we head into a new school year, I've been thinking about play. There's a lot of discussion and legal legislation about that. So the Connecticut State Legislature has passed laws concerning play at school. Play-based learning is mandated at the preschool and primary level and allowed to be utilized up to and including grade 5. Free play or recess is mandated for 20 minutes a day for elementary students, with the stipulation that building administrators may allow for more than 20 minutes. So we've had teachers report to us about how they're incorporating it, and just to recap, play-based learning can be very explicit, such as bingo games to practice word recognition skills, or perhaps with higher elementary grades to practice subject area vocabulary. That's just one example. Another type of play-based learning is dramatic play, which, while more open-ended, can be structured by the teacher to ensure that intended concepts and skills are introduced, practiced, and mastered. An example that I read about was a florist shop theme. This play corner gave students firsthand experiences with colors, shapes, sizes, and along with varying sizes of vases and access to water, other math and science concepts of capacity, volume, and weight. So the teacher can also structure the play for a multitude of other skills that individual students demonstrate needed support for. But the gold standard for play is, however, free play. I found so many wonderful explanations of why it is important, and I think any of us in this room could probably spout off a million. But I did copy a couple of quotes from the Mother's Pet Kindergarten website. First of all, when children engage in free play, they activate parts of their brain responsible for critical thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. The more opportunities they have to play, the stronger these neural connections become, supporting future learning and emotional well-being. And there's this. Unstructured play can help improve memory, language skills, and attention span by encouraging children to navigate challenges on their own. And to continue, free play is not a way for children to pass time. It's a critical aspect of their overall development. So there's many lists, and as I said, probably a lot of us in this room could list the benefits. I found this list on AI Mode site. Number 1, cognitive development, which would be critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, imagination, decision making. Another would be social and emotional development, learning to negotiate, cooperate, emotional regulation, self-esteem and confidence. Another would be physical development, gross motor skills, coordination, balance, and just developing a healthy lifestyle. And then reducing stress and anxiety. It helps children, just like grown-ups, to relax and manage their stress, develop the language to express that in conversation. So these are just categories. What's included in each category could fill volumes. Play is an important part of the school day. It is also important for the community at large to understand and support free play after school hours. Our WEC, which is Wethersfield Early Childhood Collaborative, is doing extensive work and making so much effort to educate families in the community about the importance of free play. And they have had many activities and really taken the lead on showing parents how it can be done and connect with their own community at the same time. So to some, the free play is not extracurricular. It is the essence of early childhood development and education, and we can't get enough of it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I just want to add to that, the science of child development has been kind of put to one side for many years now, and it's slowly coming back. And play is really the first sign that this is how we should be working with our children. I'm talking to the choir up here, but we need to treat them for where they are in their developmental stages and not sit them in a chair all day. So thank you very much for that. Anyone else for comments? Marjorie?
Just a quick comment, and I can barely talk because I'm so tired right now from my other job, which is new, and then my brain is full. But anyway, I did want to make a comment about just to wish everyone a great first day of school. And my son is a senior, so this is a little bittersweet because this is his last year, but he's going through all the motions already and painted his parking spot as seniors, which is a new thing, and it's so excited. And they're going to have senior sunrise, soon, and they're doing a backpack thing. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but he ordered his backpack. But just really excited to start the school year and be leaders for the high school. And also with the high school, one of the things in the superintendent's update was the amazing increase in the high school students taking AP classes and passing AP tests, which is, great with Siobhan and Stephanie. Obviously, there's a big effort by a lot of people at the staff, and some of the teachers are just, creating students that are just doing great with AP tests and scoring really well. And I would love to advertise this more, hint, hint, get this more out there to not only show the progress just in the last 4 years, which is unbelievable, but also to encourage more parents to encourage their kids to take these classes. And what's noted in the superintendent's update is how much money you could potentially save. Many students, at least as seniors from the high school, have already done a semester or two sometimes of college, and they can potentially get credit for that. And that's community college credit, that's UConn credit, or other kinds of AP credit. So I look forward to even more students taking those tests and doing well on them, and just making us all look good in general.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Liz?
So pivoting off of what Matt had mentioned earlier, when Jeff had asked me what I wanted to see out of our superintendent, I was looking for a very strong leader. And I think that you've clearly started off as a strong leader. I think that your recommendations and what you're looking into, I can't say the word scalable enough. I love all the research that has been done into how we can benefit from these department heads. You've clearly crossed all of your T's, dotted all of your I's, and I know that, your decision on how you proceed with that is not within the purview of the board, but I do appreciate the dialogue and bringing it up so that it can be discussed and so that the public can be aware of the great work that's happening.
I promise I will always include the board in all of these.
Thank you, Liz. Anyone else? Well, the Weathersfield Public School teachers and staff gathered this morning for our back-to-school convocation, and I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for the incredible dedication of our staff. They are the lifeblood of our education system, consistently going above and beyond to inspire and nurture our students. So retaining our outstanding staff is essential for fostering an environment where 21st century learning can thrive. To this end, we are committed to providing competitive contracts, targeted professional development opportunities, and state-of-the-art school facilities. By investing in our staff, we are ultimately investing in our students' futures, equipping them with the skills and knowledge they need to excel in a rapidly changing world. So I urge every Weathersfield citizen to continue supporting our students, their families, and our invaluable teachers as we move the system forward. Together, we have the potential to create vibrant learning environments that not only meet the demands of modern education, but also enhances the overall well-being of Weathersfield. So let's unite in this commitment to progress, to pave the way for a brighter future for our students, and to strengthen our system. Weathersfield, thank you for your continuing support. All right, right now we don't have a high school student, but soon maybe, to learn what's going on at our favorite flagship school. So is there any unfinished business tonight? That one. All right, so I am going to make a motion for an executive session to approve the recommendation of the superintendent to hire the principal of Highcrest Elementary School. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Okay, so thank you all for joining us tonight, and good night.
Committee, right?